Hi, this is gentle introduction to what spherical harmonic functions are. So what you see here is y lm of theta comma phi. L is the degree and m is the order. Both are integers, and L ranges from 0 to infinity and m will be minus L to L. So for example, when L is equals to 2, my m ranges from minus 2 to 2, that is minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1 and 2. The function itself has a normalization constant here multiplied with an associated Legendre polynomial in terms of cos of theta and a complex exponential in terms of phi. So this is in variable separable form because this part is a function of theta alone and this complex exponential is a function of phi alone. In this video I will show you how the shapes of the spherical functions have evolved, that is how to understand them in simpler terms, and I will show you the Laplace equation in spherical coordinates and how the spherical harmonic function can be derived, and I will show you the relevant reference for that. So again, and why these are important is these spherical harmonic functions form an orthonormal set on the surface of sphere, and also they are complete. So what does this mean? They can represent any function on the sphere, that is any complex function on sphere, as a sum of weighted spherical harmonic functions. Any function. Orthonormality signify that the coefficients can be found out from the function itself, and completeness signify that any function can be represented by using such spherical harmonics. It is in stark analogy with Fourier series. Any periodic function can be represented as a weighted sum of sines and cosines. Similarly, on a spherical surface, spherical harmonics can be used to represent any function. And regarding the spherical harmonic functions themselves, one need to be cautious about the normalization factor used in a particular software or a package, because the normalization constant is different used in different groups. Say the people in geodynamics use a different normalization constant, in quantum mechanics people may use this one, and others. There are actually various reasons for having normalization constants, various normalization constants. One of them is like the SH tools, a software called SH tools use them to increase the representability of the spherical harmonic functions at higher orders. One can look up that website, SH tools. And in some of the functions what we have is actually Condon-Shortley phase, which is minus 1 to the power of L. Even one has to be careful about whether a given function, say in Python or MATLAB, implement that Condon-Shortley phase or not, depending on your requirement. And these spherical harmonic functions, they show themselves in every field where you are dealing with a spherical geometry, say in quantum mechanics or electromagnetic radiation or in geomagnetism, etc. Especially in geomagnetism, the Earth's magnetic field is actually represented as a sum of spherical harmonic functions. Of course, mostly it is a dipolar nature, but still you will have higher order terms representing the magnetic field and its variations over the Earth's surface at any orbit. In the next few slides I will try to explain how the spherical harmonic function shape are related to these functions. For that I take the order L is equals to degree L is equals to 2. Let us start with L is equals to 2 and m is equals to minus 2. As the function, I am going back to the function, as the function itself is in variable separable form, I am representing the spherical surface as a rectangular contour plot here, that is in terms of theta and phi. You see this contour F plot, the y axis is theta and x axis is phi. This represents the spherical surface. Okay, now coming to the function with phi, it has a real part and imaginary part. As m is equals to -2, these represent sines and cosine. The x-axis is phi and the y-axis here are the values of this function, the real part of the complex exponential and the imaginary part, that is the cos m phi and sin m phi. Because we are dealing with again variable separable functions, what we can do is we can tile this function across theta. So that is what see in this plot. So in the theta phi contour f plot, what I am making is I am tiling this value of this function across theta. So correspondingly the maximum here is represented by this red color and the minima is represented by the blue color in this spectral plot. And similarly the imaginary part I am tiling across theta. So 0 is here green color, the minima is blue color and the maxima is red color. So we have tiled the real and imaginary parts across theta. And coming back to the function which is a function of theta, that is associated Legendre polynomial in terms of cos theta. The x-axis here is actually the value of the function and the y-axis is theta. The reason to take like this is we are going to tile it across phi. We are going to tile this function across phi. So this one, what you see, the maxima, because it is around 0.4 including the normalization constant, you can see a faint red color here, and both are 0 at these ends at t equal to 0 and phi, that you can see as green color here. If you tile this function across phi, what you see is this one. So now how you obtain the spherical harmonic function? You take the real part of this complex exponential and multiply with this part of the associated Legendre polynomial. So what you get if you multiply these two is the real part of the spherical harmonic function, what you see here. You can see it is all 0 across this part, so the same has been replicated here, and its maxima minima behavior is represented as the maxima and minima in terms of small mountains, or you can imagine in terms of three-dimensional plots here. Now this imaginary part, this one, if you multiply with this part, what you get is this. What you see is the imaginary part of the spherical harmonic function. As this function is a phase shifted version of this one, you can see that these two versions are also seem to be phase shifted in phi. This picture I think you will be comfortable looking at, and I think you have grabbed. We will see some more examples of it in degree 2 and we'll move forward. Now for degree 2 and m is equals to -1, that is for L equals 2 and m is equals to -1, the real part of the complex exponential is here and the imaginary part is in this blue color. In a similar way, if we tile these two functions across theta, what you obtain, the maximum here you see in red color and the minima in blue color. Similarly for this imaginary part, and the associated Legendre polynomial, it changes with both L and m, that is degree and order. Its behavior is now with respect to theta varies from -0.4 to 0.4. Now if you tile this function across the phi, what you get is this one. This minima corresponds to this blue color and this maxima is with respect to this red color. If you multiply these two functions, what you obtain is this real part of the spherical harmonic function, which has variations across theta, that is two variations. Got it? And if you multiply these two that is plots, what you get is these two. This imaginary part of the spherical harmonic function, even this has two variations across theta and two variations across phi, right? And now when m is equals to 0, what happens? When m is equal to 0, the real part is exactly 1 and the imaginary part is 0, right? So when we tile this 1 across theta, we will get a constant plot here, and we tile 0, it will be absolutely 0. When we multiply with this real part with the actual Legendre function here, what you obtain is this one. So when m is equals to 0, there will be no variation in phi, okay, and the imaginary part will be 0. This is for any degree L. If m is equals to 0, this will be actually a simple Legendre function instead of associated Legendre function. Now similarly we can go m is equals to 1. You can explain to yourself what's going on here and how you obtain these plots, and m is equals to 2. Now you will be comfortable in looking at these pairs of the spherical harmonic function. Now at L is equals to 2, you can see it's blue and red around the sphere, in terms of that is 2 blues and 2 reds, which is behind we are unable to see. And similarly for m is equals to -1 and L is equals to 2, the variations will be 2 in the phi direction and 2 in the theta direction. One can correlate themselves how these functions look like on the sphere, and for m is equals to 0, all the corresponding values on the sphere are 0. Okay, when you actually work on the spherical harmonics, you can relate it yourself well. Now looking at how these spherical harmonic functions are derived, I am not going into all details, but this is just scratching the surface. You take the spherical that is Laplace equation in spherical coordinates. What you see in this green color is with respect to r, this is with respect to theta, and this is with respect to phi, and it has sin square theta here. Now what you can do is, we assume that the solution is in variable separable form, that is in terms of r, theta and phi having different functions, and we will substitute this u into this function Laplace equation and make sure that the two parts here what you see doesn't have any common variable, that is this is entirely of a function of r and this is entirely a function of theta and phi. So as these two are of two different variables, we can equate these to a constant, and for simplicity we are taking it as minus lambda, that is for further use. And taking the first part alone, we can rewrite it such that the first part will be a function of theta alone and the second part will be a function of phi, which will be equal to m square. And taking these two parts separately, what you get is this, and the first equation, which it will lend itself into what we call as associated Legendre functions, and the second one will be a function will lead to the solution of a complex exponential. That is how we get the spherical harmonic function, and this normalization constant is to make them orthonormal. And again I am repeating why this variable separable method, because the spherical harmonic functions have two properties, that is, one, they are orthogonal, to be sure they are actually orthonormal, okay, and they are complete, that is they can represent any function on the sphere by a weighted summation of the spherical harmonics. Now the proof of this completeness is not trivial, it is involved, so I am skipping it. And for an analogy of what this Fourier series analogy, you can see on the left there is a almost square like waveform being represented as a sum of sinusoids with their particular amplitudes, that is weights. Similarly, I am deriving this plot at the end here as a sum of the spherical harmonics. First let us take the spherical harmonic function of degree 1 and order -1 with some weight 1.45, okay, it is actually same as this one. Now to this I add another function which is degree L and m is equal to 0 with coefficient -1.21, and what you see if you add these two is this function. To this I will add another one, n is equals to 1 and m is equals to 1 of coefficient -1.45, and add to it what I obtain is this, and to this I will last add n is equals to 3 and m is equal to 0 and obtain this function. It is difficult to show as the weight separately and the final function, so I have incrementally shown how the function evolves by when you add the spherical harmonic function one by one, okay. And the mathematics part of how the Laplace equation has been used to come at the spherical harmonics is explained in this textbook by Dennery and Chiswick. It's a Dover textbook available at moderate price. and a good reference. That's all. Thank you.